Hello everybody, this is Brooke aka Supernatural Summer 34 and today we are back at it with another speed build. This speed build is another part to my townhouses, so if you haven't seen the last two parts then you should go check those out. In part 1 I did the exterior and then in part 2 I did a navy blue apartment. This is the third part, but it's also the third apartment I decorated because I decorated the Rose Gen apartment second. I was going to release the Rose Gen apartment as part 3, but I thought I'd save that one for last. But this apartment is really cute, I think. It's for 2 roommates, just as all of the apartments aside from Rose Gen's are, so I'll be able to fit 6 roommates in with Rose Gen, and those 6 roommates will be Sims that you guys made for Rose Gen's love interests, and maybe some friends as well, if she doesn't wind up with them. But just as I did with the Navy apartments, I had some personalities in mind for the people in this apartment. So if you couldn't tell by the amount of trophies I put on the fireplace, one of the roommates is very athletic and very proud of it. This roommate loves sharing their achievements, and I imagine they'd have the self-absorbed trait. The other person in this apartment is an actress, I thought, and they're a little bit more reserved about their accomplishments. They have movie posters of the movies they've been in their room rather than in your face when you walk into the apartment. But if you couldn't tell, this apartment is decorated in yellow, and I thought that lended well both to the fact that Rose Gen's love interest will live here, and also the fact that one of the love interests is very boastful, because yellow is kind of a proud color. Of course, I do not mind if y'all don't stick with the personalities I have set out for these Sims, because I do want y'all to be able to exercise your own creativity, but this is just what I had in mind, and I feel like it might give some of you some ideas. But again, if you make any Sims, put them under the hashtag SPNSims and make sure that their name begins with a Y. And also, I will be making over your Sims in a video, so yeah, provided I don't get enough Sims to have all 8 love interests for Rose Gen, then I'll make some on my own. But here we move on to the kitchen, and I use the cool kitchen counters and cupboards, which I don't usually use just because I feel like all of the glass cupboards were a little bit of overkill. I was able to make it work though so that the glass wasn't too overbearing. I also did a neat thing with this kitchen where the fridge stands on its own, and I don't see too many people do that in The Sims, even though it's pretty common where I live. My old house's fridge wasn't attached to any counters or cupboards, and I think it can look really nice, and it's a great workaround for those of you who are bothered by the fridge and the cupboards intersecting. Speaking of that issue, I hate that there's only one fridge that can fix that, because I think that fridge is really, really ugly, so I've always preferred the fridge intersecting with the cupboards than using that ugly thing. It doesn't even really have a white swatch, which is beyond irritating, because I always either use a white fridge or some kind of bright color, depending on the home. I hate the silver fridges for some reason, but I tried to go kind of modern/fancy with the furniture in this build, just because I thought it really suited the vibes that The Sims would have. For example, I used these paintings that I'm pretty sure came from Vintage Glamour, and I love them so much. The only thing I wish is that I wish we had more swatches, and I also wish they had a frame. I really hate putting posters on walls just because I think everything looks better with a frame. I mean, some things are fine without a frame, like I think canvases can look good without frames because they aren't pasted to the wall, and even posters have their place sometimes, mostly in kids' rooms. I know my room certainly doesn't have a frame for everything. In fact, I think only 3 of the things hanging on my wall in my room have a frame, just because it'd be kind of expensive to frame everything, and some things I don't think need a frame. I am really excited to move into my own apartment when I'm older, though, so that I can decorate it. I'd really like a studio apartment if I were to live on my own, which actually I would probably never do because I am way too paranoid about serial killers to do that. I actually had a nightmare last night about someone trying to kill me and my sister, and I've had this nightmare before and I kinda hate it. I was like tiptoeing around my room this morning because even though there are literally no hiding places in my room, I was still paranoid. But essentially the nightmare was that me and my sister were walking around in the woods, kinda lost, and this creepy guy came up to us, and for some reason we trusted him, so we went to his house so that he could call our parents. Well, instead he said he was going to eat us. We somehow beat him up and went to the road at the end of his driveway, and we flagged down a police car, but the police car that stopped had someone who looked suspiciously like the creepy guy, except a woman, so we ran from the police car and allowed this other car to take us home, and that's when I woke up. Also, like right after I woke up, there was a banging on the wall, and I had to remind myself that it was my sister's freaking guinea pigs banging their water bottle against the wall. But I would love to live outside of my current house. I'm hoping that by the time I'm 18, I'll have a steady source of income, or hopefully 3 steady sources of income. Hopefully by then I'll have published a couple of books, my YouTube channel will be making at least a little bit of money, and I'll have had a job at some retail store or something. And as I said earlier, I would have a roommate, so there would be someone who could help with bills and all that. And there's also the fact that my mom started a savings account for my sister and I with my dad's child support money, because if you didn't know, my parents are not together, so that'll hopefully be around maybe $1,000 to a couple $1,000 boost. My sister will end up with more money in the savings than me though, just because she'll turn 18 a year after me, so it'll kind of suck a little bit, but my sister's really stingy with her money, so I know she'll spend it well. I'm probably going to be really stupid and spend it on furniture, which I guess that's a good investment, but at the same time, like, food and bills and all that are really important too. I am kind of worried about living on my own though, like, not just because of serial killers and stalkers, but also I have kind of bad impulse control, and I go through like bouts of I want to die and nobody is allowed to move me or they're gonna die too. So what if I'm just living alone and I have a job and I just use all of the sick days? I mean, I guess it depends on whether I like my job or not though. My mom says that she thinks I'll really like the job I'm trying to get as long as I get the right set of coworkers, but I am super excited to move in with somebody. The main thing though is that I have no idea who I'd move in with. Like, I'm not moving in with some random Joe off the street, and my friend is moving to Arizona as soon as she turns 18, so yeah. But I will be going back to regular school come September because if you didn't know, I did the whole online school thing before Corona, so hopefully I'll make some friends when I go back. But I've been thinking about career options that I'd like, and there are a couple that come to mind. Like a year or so back, I realized that I don't want to be an English teacher anymore, and my reasoning was mainly because I didn't want to go to college, but I also just do not care about people's grammar. Like, this might sound surprising since I want to be a writer, but I do not want to spend all of my time correcting someone's grammar. But then I was regaling my family with history facts, and my stepdad suggested that I become a history teacher, and I really like that idea because I'd love to teach history. I'd be one of those cool history teachers who shares fun facts and who doesn't really care much about dates. Like, I had a history teacher back in 8th grade who only made us memorize the year sometimes, and her class was so much fun. Even though I didn't have any friends in that class, I still loved it because she was such a good teacher. So yeah, I'm thinking I might want to become a history teacher, though the whole college problem is still there. And my main problem with college is, first of all, the debt, and second of all, I'm kind of scared that I won't be able to handle the workload. Like, I've heard college students complaining that they had to write a 12-page paper, and even when I'm really passionate about a topic, I usually only get around 2 pages worth of stuff. I don't know, it just seems like a big step up from high school, because right now I only have to write 2-page papers. But we are coming up on the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you all soon.